Alright, we're back here. At the top right, we have our MJ player, formerly of Prime. It's BBoongBBoong! Taking a really nice build in game number 1, but not able to finish. Major pro gaming team working out for him so far. We'll see if he can get into the second round. His opponent to the bottom left for the team NS Hoso, one of their last great heroes, a GSL champion. It is jjakji. Holding that bottle of hope. Gotta make sure to make those SCVs though. Stay on top of that. Now, up a game on a 2-player map, and a medium-sized one at that. Some players would have said 2 racks proxy 100%. But jjakji says no. He's actually going to play a different game here. Will he go CC first, or will he go for barracks first? Because he's facing a 10 pool right now. And if you face a 10 pool with a CC first, you might just lose. And it looks like that's what he's going to do. Now, if he makes a CC on the high ground again, that will be something that can allow him to hold. But if he makes it on the low ground, he's going to be super sad. I mean super sad. Find out, clock is ticking. As he approaches 400 minerals, constant SCV production. It's time for the 14cc. Where are you going to make it, jjakji? The spawning pool is finished here. And this time he goes for the low ground. This is exactly what BBoongBBoong wants. Boom. CC on the low ground. No drone scout for BBoongBBoong, of course, in the 10 pool. You would lose 10% of your mining. Precisely. In order to do that. And while the first drone was being made after the initial pool, that would be more like 11.1% repeating. And you don't want to lose that this early in the game. You want to be able to transition, because the 10 pool is not like going to kill your opponent most of the time. In this case, though, it may do just that. Does not pull the drones, makes a queen instead, and will rally more lanes as soon as he sees what's going on. The cool timing about the 10 pool is that right when the queen is out, he's going to hit that inject, and then the larva's going to pop out, and as the overlord is finishing, he's going to know whether he wants to make more lings or more drones. Right now, he actually made drones. I think that was a wrong choice to wait there to make that so early. He forces the cancel here immediately. Oh, this is scary. You can't repair a depot that's being made. He's got to repair that depot that's already done. The SCV on the outside does go down. The barracks is not finished yet. And now again, jjakji is going to have to do something similar that Maru did. He's going to have to pay money to keep himself alive here and lose mining time. But the game will not end here, especially with the drone production that followed this up. And jjakji did not allow BBoongBBoong to get to the main base. Had he done that, the follow-up with Lings would have been scary and probably game ending. BBoongBBoong says he's got to go home. Well, so one Marine out there, you don't even want to trifle with it. You go home and you say, well, I've done the delaying, I've got my own hatch up, I can take a third now. With this gas going down, it indicates BBoongBBoong wants to be aggressive. Because since he's already seen the command center, there's no reason whatsoever to believe that Hellions are coming down here. There's no way he's going to have the gas in his main. So BBoongBBoong definitely wants to put some heavy pressure on here, whether it's Lings at the natural to keep the command center on the high ground, or to kill SCVs with run-bys. Or if he wants to go for a Baneling bust and all-in, he could even make roaches off of 2 base. See that roach Baneling all-in that we've seen off of, you know, somewhere between 30 to 34 drones, depending on how you want to do it exactly. What's the plan, BBoongBBoong? That's what the world is waiting for. As the 3rd command center goes up for jjakji, he takes a risk, because he knows he's behind at this point. And this risk could be exactly what BBoongBBoong needs to get back into this best-of-3 series. This is the critical moment where he hits 100 gas, and the pullout is null. He does not pull out at all. Keeping all 3 in still. Definitely going to be going for at least, at the very least, Baneling aggression. 28 drones right now, going up to 33. Now jjakji has to be so careful here. If he cuts too many corners, then BBoongBBoong is going to use that. And whenever you cut off a corner, you make an edge. And that's the edge that BBoongBBoong is going to use. Think about that. Seriously, look at a square and cut off a corner. You make an edge. Neutral depot needs to be taken out here so he can make a better wall for his bunker. So don't be alarmed, he's actually killed the neutral depot. The lair is going up now, as is additional gases for BBoongBBoong. With the lair, you know, this is not what I expected. I did not expect to see this. Now 3 gases. He's going 2 hatch Muta. Well, with the 3rd hatch that just got blocked by eBay. With no links nearby, this is actually going to get a lot of hit points. Oh, that's so annoying for BBoongBBoong. Here come the links. Just a quick cancel. And in fact, that was a bunker that he used, not an eBay. The second eBay was at home. So, works out for him quite a bit. Now, Spire will likely be starting here. If he starts Infestation Pit, that makes sense too with the eBay's evolution chambers he just made. But it is going to be Spire, yeah. Spire makes much more sense in this scenario. And when the first Mutas hit, he's not going to have a lot of anti-air. He's not going to have very many Marines because he didn't add barracks off to base. He waited, he got E-Bays, he got his 3rd command center. His Marine production was really stifled. He's only got 7 with the 8th Marine on the way right now. It's going to give BBoongBBoong a lot of harassment potential where he can pick off units, pick off structures if he wants to get depots, maybe even a reactor or a tech lab. Then, if jjakji tries to move his command center to the 3rd, that Baneling Ling Muta attack at the 3rd base may just end it. We'll see what he's got planned. I expected to see a heavier 2-base aggression out of BBoongBBoong, considering the circumstances he was in. 3rd hatchery is done, and the macro hatch will follow. This is exactly what BBoongBBoong is checking for right now. He wants him to lift it. He says that's fine. Or lower it, rather. We want to do some damage, but the Hellions will rescue. And the Mutas are going to join up. He doesn't have the Baneling Nest just yet. He's only got +1. He's going to make 8 Mutas here to start. Another hatchery does finish. There's the 8 Mutas. And he's going to want to start a Baneling Nest pretty soon. Regardless of whether or not he does that attack I was talking about, you're going to want to have Banelings at this point because the production of your opponent starts to get pretty nice. We don't have it on camera, but a nice little poke here with some Lings at the 3rd base. But that was a big sacrifice for BBoongBBoong. Now he can't be as aggressive with the Lings as he may have wanted to before. And now he's going to lose more Lings to these Hellions as well with good micro by jjakji. Really nicely done. And those 2 losses, I feel, were actually much heavier for BBoongBBoong. jjakji can hold his 3rd very comfortably now. BBoongBBoong did just drone up quite heavily. But with the faster 3rd command center that jjakji's had, he's been able to hit his SCVs really nicely, and the worker deficit is only 67 to 61 right now. The first Mutalist wave comes in, and he doesn't have turrets, and he's got to pull his SCVs because there's just not quite enough Marines. In fact, he could fight those. I hope you fight those, man. Oh, those Mutas are cowards. That's right. Fight those, because that's not enough Marines. Even with Stim, once the Stim wears off, he could actually just fight those. He wouldn't lose a single Muta if he micros well. He wants to go for the Hellions in the middle of the map instead. I really feel like this could have been much better executed from BBoongBBoong. Remember, his Lings do have +1. He's making 6 more Mutas right now. Really heavily committing. Going up to 16 right now with +1. jjakji, though, with 2-2 on the way. BBoongBBoong is really on a clock if he wants to attack this 3rd base heavily. But I think that window has already passed. You know, he knows it. There's a bunker set up. The Marine count is too high. And siege tanks are coming out. He's got his own 4th going up to the bottom right as well. That indicates no, he's not going to be attacking here. Baneling Nest very late, coming down 12.5 minutes. Tries to find a window here. And, you know, I feel he could have done so much more with that first wave of Mutas. Now he's doing what he could have done before. And in fact, this is starting to look really scary. The rest of the Marines come in. He fights the turret. Should actually just fight the Marines straight up if he's going to fight like that. But not anymore, not with the turret there, and his Mutas were damaged too heavily. +1 is almost done for the Mutas. He may go into the 3rd base now. With that Baneling Nest finishing up. He doesn't have speed, of course, though. 32 additional Lings coming out with 4 more Mutas, and the Infestation Pit has started, so he's got a transition in mind. This is a very, very tense moment for BBoongBBoong. He's down a game here. He's on his new team. He requalified for Code A. But this GSL champion may just knock him out here if he makes any mistakes. He's on that razor-thin line in this matchup right now where he's committed a lot of resources into, I feel, units he hasn't really been able to use. This massive wave of Mutas is going to be a big problem for jjakji. He's got so many turrets he made. That's going to buy him some time. One Muta does go down. You trade a Muta for a turret, and that's always nice. This is not enough Marines, though, if he wants to stay. And finally, BBoongBBoong says, I'm going to stay. He can pick off these Marines and then get out. He needs to get out against this wave, though. No way he fights this one. And out he goes. 2-2 not done on those Marines just yet. BBoongBBoong needs to do things like this to buy time for his 4th base. The last thing he can afford right now is flying his Mutas over a bunch of Marines. That's a mistake we've seen a lot of Zerg players make recently in high-tense situations like this, like Moon, for example. Recently making this mistake in GSTL. Drop in the main base while the Mutas are out of position. I don't know how much I like this. He's going to get a few drones, but he will lose the medevac for sure. I mean, there's no question about that. He pulled his Mutas away a little bit too late, but I like the idea. Loses one Muta. And actually, with getting that Muta and the amount of drones he got, that was well worth it for jjakji in the end. He wants to pull the Mutas away from his 3rd base. Excuse me, his 4th that he's lifting right now. Double Thor comes out, and that's going to be really nice to have. It's going to make him feel a lot more comfortable against the Mutas. He may even leave one at home. With the turrets to support, with a few Marines here as well in the Thor, these Mutas are going to have the time of their life getting the hell out of there when that happens. And it's going to be the happiest feeling ever those Mutas have ever experienced when they escape. I'm still trying to figure out how Mutas fly in space. That's something that keeps me awake at night. I'm sure it does many of you back at home. Planetary is going down at the 4th, not making that to an orbital, not cutting any corners. You see that BBoongBBoong is doing something very smart here. Playing this a little bit lucky style, getting 3 spores, 3 spines right now, help defend his bases against drop play. Doesn't want his tech structures to get targeted. And by lucky, I don't mean that this is something that's really lucky by him. I mean that he's playing a style that Epic So Lucky has shown in the past. It's very skillful, in fact, and very patient. This is exactly what jjakji wants. He wants to bait him into the defensive place he's got set up here with his planetary, the siege tanks, and even the Thors. It's always something that jjakji can fall back on. People think of the planetary fortress as a defensive structure, but what it actually is a positional structure. It allows you to make your opponent move the way you want them to on the battlefield. And that's something that I really like. When I was first playing StarCraft 2, the planetary fortress I felt was way too strong when I was playing the beta, and I thought it wasn't fair. But you know, in reality, actually, I think it's a great mechanic that Blizzard added in. People really figured out how to fight it, and oftentimes that you just should not fight it. Go around it. I really, really like that planetary fortress addition to StarCraft 2. Hopefully we see some more transformations, maybe even in Legacy of the Void. I'd like to see a 3rd option for the command center. That'd be pretty cool. You know, people say that the differences in StarCraft 1, well, hold that thought, we're going to have a little bit of an engagement here. This is what I'm talking about. He sets up the fortified position, he wants to bait the Lings into it. Back on my initial point, some people say that StarCraft 1 Vanilla versus Brugor, there were so many more changes, and the game changed so much more than Heart of the Swarm will over Wings of Liberty. And to that I say, yes, that's true, but there's already so much in Wings of Liberty to begin with. I mean, so many new things that were added over StarCraft 1 that it's hard to even imagine changing as many things as Brugor did. Think about that. These Hellions do get taken out, but this is fine for jjakji. He's making 4 orbitals right now because he's got a pretty good entrenched position on the middle of the map. It's going to be so hard for BBoongBBoong to attack into. And he's adding, he wants to add those Vikings in. He does not? Okay, there he goes. Starts up to 8. I knew he had that infrastructure. Now he's got the 8 Vikings at a time. And that's another reason why he threw those Hellions, because the Hellions are not going to be useful in a fight with no upgrades, and there's very few of them. So you throw those Hellions away, you free up the supply to make the Vikings that you're going to need to make that fight count. BBoongBBoong, again, very heavy on the Lings. His Ling count up to 114 this time, and again, he's got those 5 Queens. This time, however, he is hitting his injects. He just hit 1 more inject on all of his hatcheries, and now he's marching the Queens across. So those last injects are going to be, the last thing those Queens do before the fight happens. This time, though, with all the injects he's hit and all the time he's had that jjakji's given him compared to last game, right now he has 74 larvae in the bank, and that's good for 148 Zerglings to be made if he wants to remax in Zerglings after a fight. And look at the bank for BBoongBBoong. It's something that jjakji does not have right now. Not yet. look at what's on the production tab, though. 3 additional starports and the fusion core. jjakji wants to go into battle cruisers here, and he wants to do it heavy. With these additional starports, those are not for Vikings. That is for late game air Terran play with Ravens and battle cruisers. He's going to have some Vikings, of course, out on the map, and a lot of this game is going to be decided, in fact, by fungals. And this is going to be a moment where BBoongBBoong decides, okay, I think I need to get Neural Parasite once he realizes what's going on. It's going to be a while before these battles occur because neither player is confident to attack right now. That wave of Mutalisk is really cool because unlike Corruptors, these flying units can actually fight air to ground and ground to, or air to air rather. The Vikings zone them out really nicely here. But this is a valuable force for BBoongBBoong that he does not want to throw away. He thought about, see, there was a moment of hesitation there where he thought, do I trade these on Vikings? And he has to remake them because I have the bank and I can make more Broodlords. And he was like, you know what? No, actually, these are really useful. And in this split map situation, I want to have this small harassment force. And as a Zerg player, you can afford to do this with Infestors and how quickly you can remax. This is something a Terran cannot afford to do with Reapers or Ravens, using them as harassment, for example. You've got to keep everything together. Secret Missile coming down, 3 additional Ravens. He's getting the plating upgrade for his buildings, as well as getting plating for ship and the ship weapons. High-sec auto-tracking goes down now as well for the planetaries, and not only that, but that will give him a little bit more range on his auto-turrets should they come into play. No durable materials or Corvid Reactor. I'm a little bit disappointed on the lack of Corvid Reactor because that's an investment when you're making this many Ravens that is just invaluable. No weapon refit or Behemoth Reactor as well, indicating that we may not see battlecruisers for a while. And I like that he's being patient on that because look at the bank for jjakji versus BBoongBBoong for gas. 3,100 versus 400. He doesn't have the infrastructure to pour 300 per battlecruiser in just yet. His minerals aren't even as high as BBoongBBoong's. He's hovering at 2,000. There's the weapon refit. He's going to want that Yamato cannon for Corruptors, but also if he can get them on Infestors, that's going to make him happy as well. The first battlecruiser now is underway. In fact, it starts 2. When BBoongBBoong realizes this, he's going to immediately start making Spore Crawlers, and he's going to want to get Neural Parasite. He may even start to get some extra Queens out for transfuses. There's also a Ghost Academy I want to note. Now this could be for multiple things, and probably will be for multiple things. He can make a nuke and try to use that positionally in the fight, because he's going to have battlecruisers which have a ton of hit points, especially with the armor plating coming in to tank damage, and then you can have the nuke just kind of hover there, force the Zerg player to move because he won't be able to close on the Ghost. Or you have notice he's killing his own units here so that he can actually free up more supply for battlecruisers with all the orbitals he has. Or with the Ghost, he can go for EMPs. I have to be my own co-caster right now, so I have to bounce ideas off myself. But with the EMPs, if he hits them good, then everyone will make fun of Wolf's Grammar. But if he hits them well, he can really eliminate the energy on those Infestors, stop the Neurals, and we're actually just going to fight right now, and where are the Secret Missiles? I didn't see any. The supply dropping dramatically for both players. The Planetary, though, kills all the Infestors. There's a Secret Missile, and BBoongBBoong, I feel, just kind of came in here willy-nilly without really thinking about what the consequences of that were going to be. Yeah, he kills a Planetary, loses a ton, though. Look at his Remax with 15 Ultralisk, though. 15 Ultralisk as the Remax is a great choice. 4 more battlecruisers coming out. Ultralisk cannot kill battlecruisers, but they can kill everything on the ground before the battlecruisers can kill them. +3 Air Carapace finishes, though, for BBoongBBoong as well. And again, the bank continues to be better for BBoongBBoong, who's now taken the aggressive hatchery to the south. Something that jjakji has not been able to take yet. 2 siege tanks coming out now and 16 Marines at a time for jjakji. He's really dumping the resources in there. Now that the air units are gone, he's going to go for drop play again. Ultralisks are not good at defending drops. They're too slow, and even though they do a lot of DPS, it's so easy to just pick up against them because it takes a few hits to actually kill those units in the drop. Corruptors want to find the drop immediately, of course, but if he sends the Corruptors in after the units are unloaded, then the Marines will kill him. The Ling count right now is only 11, and Lings are really what you want to have against drops. They're the most mobile unit in the Zerg force, obviously by far. And nice, kills the drop and gets out with the Corruptors. Now the Broodlords can zone out here and can clean up the main Lings. With the spines that he made earlier, the Marines just aren't really able to do anything here. We had a sudden shot at that planetary. Just a reminder that it's there. jjakji very low on resource, and I think that's what our observer's trying to highlight here. He's starting to get mined out. Doesn't have a lot of SCVs on the map, only 33. The battlecruiser fleet is getting large, though. He's got 7 on the map. Doesn't have enough resources to continue that production, but if you get up to like 15 battlecruisers, unless your opponent is Squirtle and he's got a mothership, you're probably going to be okay. He just doesn't have those resources just yet. Now the battlecruisers are actually going to go and do harassment. I really like this because there's no neural parasite. He doesn't know that. But look at how quickly this hatchery will fall. This is battlecruiser harass, except he needs one more Yamato cannon to actually finish that off. He wants to come back and defend his own base. However, the Ultras not pathing very well here. He needs to actually send them around. Several Ultras behind the mineral line here, not actually able to fire. And yeah, he can funnel these Vikings all he wants, but the battlecruisers may be the bigger problem. Where are the Yamatos? You research that weapon refit for a reason. You got to start firing those. He's got several available. Now he's used them, but BBoongBBoong is just going to push through here. GG, no redline reactor today. I was really surprised at how this endgame worked out. I didn't think that BBoongBBoong would be able to take those battles so decisively. I think if in the first battle jjakji got his secret missiles off better, or at all, then we would have seen a very different game. But as it is, the game score now is tied 1-1 between BBoongBBoong and jjakji. And we're going to go into game number 3 on map unknown. I'll find out in just a moment and tell you guys as soon as I do. Gonna get that invite. Taking a little stretch right now. We've got some Prime supporters, in fact, actually in the studio right now. And they were talking to Maru earlier, and obviously probably fans of BBoongBBoong as well, as he was until very recently a Prime player himself. And Terius actually came to the studio. Bumblebee, for those of you guys who do not know who Terius is, go watch Terius Foyu and Open Season 3 of the GSL. By the way, if you haven't seen the Open Seasons, I think they're free now. Don't quote me on that. They either were free for a short time or they are now, and even if they aren't, you should buy them because they don't cost a lot of money. And the Open Seasons from back in the day are history, and everybody needs to watch them. I hope that in 10 years, when we're all still watching StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void at that point, there will just be a time where GOM rebroadcasts the Open Seasons. That would be awesome. Just for just not take away from the regular GSL, but just play it at an earlier time, just rebroadcast that and put it up there in high quality for everybody to watch, to remember the days of Fruit Dealer, Any Pro, Hongen. I'm mentioning names that most people would know, but I could also mention Next Free Saga. I could mention Idra. Probably heard of him. Huck. Huck was not in the Open Seasons, but Idra was in the opening match. Up against a Zenith player. I can't remember his ID right now. But Free DSL. So many cool players back then who had really unique strategies back when StarCraft 2 was a very different game than it is right now. Highly recommend watching those VODs. Now we have this short little break. It looks like he had to go to the bathroom. Yeah, that's what it says in chat here. So when BBoongBBoong gets back in the bathroom, we're going to start. Well, we have this break. You guys can take the time to follow myself on Twitter at Proxy. We'll follow GOMTV as well. And if you want to look up any player on Twitter, you can search them on Twitter, but the more efficient way I found is to use a resource that some of the guys at Team Liquid have put together, the community has made. Go to liquidpedia.net. There's a ton of information there, especially for tournaments. Sometimes some of the information about players or casters is a little bit outdated, but if you look up players and if you look up tournaments, usually that stuff is pretty up to date. Go to any player's page there, search for them, or you can even go on Google and search, for example, jjakji Liquipedia. It'll show his page as the first result. You go there and you look at his Twitter right under his picture. You'll know exactly what it is. You can do that for any player. Almost every player that StarCraft 2 has, whether they are Korean, foreign, kitten, or dog, if there were a player that had ever done anything important, even if they were an animal or a monkey, then their Twitter would be listed there. So definitely go and check that out if you want to follow a player you've been thinking about following for a while, you should know how to find their Twitter. That's how you do it. And follow me at Proxy Wolf. I'll say that once more. As the map is loaded, it is Cloud Kingdom. Let's jump into the game.